From political corridors, I'll now take you to the legal corridors because it's going to be possibly a big day with regard to the top court of the country. The Supreme Court is set to pronounce a verdict on immunity to our legislators and to our politicians. Remember that while we have seen cross-voting in a lot of decades with political experience, but in the past few years specifically, is there more than what happens for the cross-voting? The verdict will be on the reconsideration of 1998 judgment on the immunity to legislators. The top court will announce the verdict specifically on the immunity for MPs and MLAs who had sought immunity over taking bribes for votes in the House. Just to give you a background, in 1998, a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court ruled MPs and MLAs have total immunity in all matters related to voting in the House, which means they are not liable to prosecution even if they have taken a bribe to cast a vote. The case, remember, was related to bribe by 5 JMM MPs, including party patriarch Shibu Soren, and in 93 to vote against the no confidence motion faced by the Congress government led by Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao then. Now, Rao-led government was in minority in the Lok Sabha, and yet it survived the motion because of the JMM votes. The CBI had registered a case against the 5 MPs. It was quashed by the 5-judge bench of the court in 1998. Our legal correspondent Kanu Sarda is now joining me for the latest in this morning telecast. It's going to be very interesting because how much of an immunity can be given, Kanu, to our legislators, to our politicians, even if it means that they are willing to take bribe if proven, to cast a vote. But at this time, tell us about the background of the case in the sense, how is this verdict being seen as a reconsideration by the Supreme Court? How has this come up by the top court of the country to say we will reconsider? Because this, remember, is going to be a big issue. What had happened in 1998 before this verdict was pronounced, that the 5 members of parliament who were accused of taking a bribe to vote for the PM Narasimha Rao-led government then were proven, but they were also given immunity, which means no prosecution for taking a bribe to cast that vote. So, yes, Kanu, go ahead. Do tell us about how the verdict that was given in 1998 has now come up for reconsideration by the Supreme Court.
Well, Pooja, it is after 25 years approximately this verdict is going to be reconsidered, and the Supreme Court is today going to deliver its judgment whether the immunity which is given to the MPs and MLAs from taking bribe or speaking in favor of one particular party in the floor of the House is right or not, is right or incorrect. So this is a very important question, keeping in mind that the elections which are coming and the cross-voting and the allegations of taking bribe and speaking in one favor of the party, this holds very important. There are 2 contradicting judgments which have come. That is why, the Supreme Court 7-judge bench is going to deliver its verdict today. The 7-judge bench had heard this matter 2 days, whole day, and had contentions raising from whether the immunity which is given to the MPs and MLAs is correct, or there was also a viewpoint taken that the bribe giving and bribe taking both are crimes in our criminal justice system. So keeping everything balanced, the whole scenario in mind, the Supreme Court is going to deliver the verdict, and if the Supreme Court goes against the verdict that the immunity which is given to MPs and MLAs by the top court in its earlier verdict, then soon we are going to see some strict kind of guidelines in place by the Supreme Court for these MPs and MLAs who enjoy the immunity which is granted to them by the Constitution of India under Article 105 subclause 2, which says that immunity is granted to all these MPs and MLAs from the prosecution if they take money and speak in or vote in the favor of one particular party.
Keep tracking the latest and updates as and when that verdict starts to be pronounced by the Supreme Court. It's going to be very important. What do you think? Should our netas have the immunity, or should they be liable to prosecution if they decide to take bribe for voting in the House?